John Gatski here with the DC Hi-Fi Group. We're a local audiophile organization in the Washington, D.C. area, and we're starting around videos for YouTube on local audiophile dealers and also service providers. So today we're here to talk with Russ Katz of the Vinyl Revivers and the Audio Hunters, who's located up in Columbia, Maryland.
Hi, this is Russ Katz. I'm the managing owner of the Audio Hunters and the Vinyl Revivers. I want to thank John Gatski and Paul Elliott for coming here to give me a chance to talk about my company. Just a little bit about me. Basically been to music since I was a kid. My dad was a huge jazz fan, listening to Miles Davis and John Coltrane and Herb Alpert and Tijuana Brass. That was probably my first exposure to music. Listened to Whipped Cream and Other Delights countless times, both to listen to the music and to look at the cover. My mom was a classical piano teacher and listened to a ton of classical music, so I got a lot of exposure for classical from her. And I had a cousin that was about 4 years older than me, and whenever I'd go to visit him, he was like the coolest guy. He had huge guitar amps and a ton of records, and he introduced me to the Who and the Doors and the Stones and all the bands from the 60s, and I was hooked. Basically used to mow lawns when I was a young kid to a teenager. I'd make like $1.50 mowing a lawn. I'd take that money, save it up, and buy records, and that's all I did. My first job out of college, I worked for Record World and basically spent my entire paycheck on buying records. I lived at home at the time, so I had no expenses, and that's all I did was just buy vinyl, and it's just kind of continued from there. I got into the audio business in 1985. Worked for a company called Audio Crafters out of College Park, Maryland, and proceeded to work in their College Park store as a manager there. Managed their Rockville store, managed their Georgetown store, both their service department and their home installation department. I was the buyer, I was the sales manager. Then left there, went to a company called Spaceway Sounds that was back in the College Park location that Audio Crafters had moved out from. Then I went and worked for Gramophone back in late 80s, early 90s. Left there and then got back into the audio business 2012, went back to Gramophone, was their director of new business development for a few years, and then decided to start my own thing. So I've been doing this since 2015. I started a vinyl restoration company. Gone to a record show in Arbutus, Maryland, saw all these people buying used vinyl, nobody cleaning it. So I decided to set up a table at the next show. I brought a nitty-gritty 2.5 FI record cleaning machine, a pair of Stax Slam to Pro headphones with a headphone amp and a Bang & Olufsen RX2 turntable. I let people listen to the records before I clean them, after I clean them, and charged $5 a record, took off, and then from there I started adding additional audio equipment for people to check out, and then it just kept going from there. So now I carry many different lines. I'm one of Kef's elite dealers in the country, selling Kef since 1985. I'm also a Bryson dealer, Gold Note dealer, Parasound, many other lines. You can check out my website, www.theaudiohunters.com and www.thevinylrevivers.com if you want to check out the different lines that I have. And I can be reached at 301-848-4100. I'm here to help doing this because I want to share my passion of music and good sound with as many people as possible. I've also started basically a record store as well, so I get new releases that come in every single week, so feel free to contact me. I pretty much have everything available, same prices as some of the online retailers. So I look forward to talking to you and showing you my stuff. I work by appointment only, and it's just me and you, and I'll spend as much time as you need. Right now I do have a demo sale going on. It's pretty much covering almost my entire inventory. I'm trying to clean out some models that have been discontinued or some colors that I'd like to change. I'd like to bring in some new models, so please feel free to call me. I'm taking at least 10%, as much as 30% on most of the items that I have. Most of them will still come with a full warranty as well, so look forward to hearing from you. Okay, so we're now in the room where it all began. This is my record cleaning room, and I'm going to kind of show the different machines that I'm using. First one we'll show is the nitty-gritty 2.5 FI XP, and this machine has two different tanks. One tank has an enzyme solution in it. The other tank has their Pure 2 cleaning solution. You basically pump the fluid, it goes up, comes through the lips. You then go ahead and put the record on. You go ahead and move this over, it kind of clamps onto the record. You press that, it rotates the record, and when it's done, you turn the other side, and it basically will vacuum the record dry. So that's a nitty-gritty 2.5 FI XP. I then have a spin clean. Spin Clean runs about $85 on the Spin Clean. I pretty much use this one as the first cleaning machine. I actually initially I'll take a Furitat D-Stat gun, neutralize the record surface, pop it into the Spin Clean. With the Spin Clean, I pop the record in between these two velvet pads. You can adjust it depending on if it's 45s or 10-inch records. You rotate the record 3 times one way, 3 times the other way. Then you pull it out, and I have some anti-static towels that I'll use to dry the record off. From there, then goes into this ultrasonic V8 machine. This machine can clean up to 8 records at a time, although I only use it to clean 1 at a time. I just feel like it's a little bit more effective that way. And you basically have a metal rod that the record mounts onto. Metal rod goes in between these 2 posts, and it basically rotates at a very slow speed. And you have a button down here you can press for different times, anywhere from 5 minutes up to about 50 minutes. And you can change the temperature of the water. It uses cavitation, so it's kind of like going to a jewelry store and having your diamond rings cleaned. It kind of gets into some of the nooks and crannies that typical brush systems just can't get into. And then from there, I go into the dryer tank. I basically pull the record out of the ultrasonic cleaner into here. I then have to manually rotate the rod in here and then turn this on in the back, and it basically turns the fan on, which blows the record dry. When that one's done, it then goes into the audio desk, which is considered to be probably the best record cleaning machine around. Basically, you pop the record in, you push that button. Depending on how dirty the record is, you can go anywhere from 1 cycle to 5 cycles. There's 1.2 gallons of distilled water. When it starts, the water rises inside the tank. The rollers will then press up against the record. It'll spin, and the cavitation process will occur. When it's done doing its cycles of cleaning, the rollers will pull away from the record. The water will drop back down into the bottom of the tank, and then a fan will turn on and dry the record. This is the more current version of the audio desk, and what's nice about it is sometimes if the record is not cut properly or if it's warped a little bit, it basically uses a couple of squeegees on the side to kind of get rid of some of the water that's on the record, and sometimes it doesn't get totally dry. This particular one, you press that button 6 times and it will just turn the fan on and allow it to air dry a little bit longer. So that's the audio desk. And then from the audio desk, I then go to the project, and the project is pretty inexpensive. This is an older model. This ran about $499. I have a new one of these on sale as part of my demo deal. I'd also sell this one as well, just buy myself a newer one. But they have something that's basically like a wash it fluid. I put the record on here. I then clamp this down. I take the fluid, I coat it on using a nitty-gritty brush, make sure it's evenly coated, let it sit for a couple minutes. Then this arm goes over the record, and then it has a vacuum that will basically vacuum up the fluid. And then from there, I come over, I have a Soda record cleaning machine, which I'm going to sell this demo as well. Soda's actually discontinued this particular model, but on this one, it's similar to some of the VPI machines that are out there. Basically, the vacuum sucks the fluid up off the record. I use 3 different fluids. I have Turgitol, which is something that the Library of Congress uses. I then use, they have something called crystal fluid, that's something that Soda puts out. And then I use Audio Intelligence Solutions, their Premium 6 solution. And then lastly, I use a MoFi record rinse to clean up any kind of residual fluid that might still be in the grooves. From there, I put it back into the audio desk and go 1 cycle. And then I use the D-Stat gun and neutralize the surface again, then put it into an anti-static sleeve. So That's my record cleaning process. Okay, we're now down in my basement, which is where all of the high-end product is. And in this particular rack, I have at the top, I have a Mytek Brooklyn Bridge. I also have the Mytek Brooklyn Amp, which is the original version, so that one's on sale. Then I have a Inuo Zenith Mark II server. That's a demo as well. They have now come out with a newer version of that. And then I also have the Mytek Manhattan II. I have Bryston BDA 3.14, which is both a preamp that has HDMI inputs in it, as well as a streamer built in. You can also use it as a Roon endpoint as well. I then have Parasound's JC2B preamp. I have an old Nakamichi RS505 cassette deck, which is not available for sale. I have the Parasound Hint 6 integrated amp, Parasound's P6 preamp. I then have Parasound's A21 Plus power amp, and at the bottom is the Parasound JC5 power amp, and in the front is an AccuPhase E270 integrated amp. That has just been replaced by the E280, so I will be selling my demo model as well. Okay, so we're down in my high-end salon. I'm standing in front of Sonor Audio's Legato Duo speakers. These were recently raved about in Absolute Sound magazine and have been part of the hi-fi buying guide, so sound great. 8,500 a pair. I also have a Gold Note IS1000 Deluxe integrated amp on the amp stand, and then I also have some other products. I have a Project Extension 10 turntable with a whole Gold Note separate system. In addition, a Gold Note turntable, Dr. Fikert Rega P8. I also have a Primare i35, some Audiolab 6000 series product. I have Quads 2 preamp and tube power amps, and then I have a whole video display. I have a full Dolby Atmos system set up down here. Typically use some KEF R11s for front, left, and right with some Dolby Atmos speakers sitting up top. I have a KEF R2C center channel behind the grill, and then I have a pair of R3 speakers that are in the back up top. They're being used as the back surround channels, and then I also have some KEF R5s that are used as the surround channels. Okay, so I have tons of records that come in at pretty much every single week. They kind of start at the left-hand side. I have them all in alphabetical order by week, and then eventually I'll put them into different sections. I have a whole MoFi section, and I have a whole box set section. Then I have kind of things broken down by audiophile labels. So I have stuff from Analog Productions, from Classic Records, from Impex, from Groove Note, from Music on Vinyl, which is a great import label, and then they pretty much start with Aha, and then they kind of loop around. I also have MoFi's Ultra Discs. Albums that are pictured in the front, these are also albums that had just come in from the previous week, and then they kind of rotate all the way around. Okay, so here we are, just kind of in closing. One service that I do offer that's pretty unique is I do have the ability to flatten warped records. I use Furatex DF2 vinyl flattening machine, and basically works by opening up the lid, and I take the cloth out, and you take a record and pop it in. You then close the top and turn the unit on, and then you would press the mode button, and it allows you to take anywhere from an hour and a half, 2 hours, or 2.5 hours in the baking mode to heat it up, and then it takes an hour and a half to cool down. And other than extremely thin vinyl, Sheffield recordings, and some of the early RCA titles from the 70s that were extremely thin, it'll do a pretty good job on any disc that was stored improperly and warped because of that. It does not work great on records that were warped because of too much heat from the sun. But so thank you very much for letting me talk about my company, and I look forward to meeting many of you and helping you improve your systems.
Russ, I'd like to thank you for joining us here on YouTube for DC Hi-Fi Group and showing us your dealership and all the products and services that you provide. Hopefully that the DC Hi-Fi Group has been a valuable organization for you to join to help out with promoting your products, and also getting together with the local audiophiles in the DC, Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland area.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, it's a great opportunity not only to show my stuff, but to be around other like-minded people that share the same interest and passion. It's been a great, several years doing it. We have a great group of guys, and it's great. You know, you bring in manufacturers, gives people an opportunity to actually meet people face to face that in many cases they would never meet otherwise. So thank you for all your hard work in putting this together and making this happen. I know it's a lot, but it's really appreciated on my end.
Well, thank you, Russ. I really appreciate it. And all you folks out there in YouTube land, keep up with what we're doing, and we'll have more videos in the future. Thank you.